He is the only man in the entire Hebrew Bible described simply as righteous, a tzaddik. In a world echoing with the screams of violence and absolute corruption, one man walked in the opposite direction. His name was Noah. Genesis chapter 6 verse 9. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Today, we peel back the layers of the man who survived the end of the world. This is not just a Sunday school story. It is a complex study of grace, family dynamics, and a legacy that points to a future king. Noah didn't come from nowhere. He was the son of Lamech, who named him Noah, meaning rest, hoping he would bring relief from the toil of the cursed ground. Genesis chapter 5, verse 29. He named him Noah and said, "He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands caused by the ground the Lord has cursed." He was the 10th generation from Adam through the godly line of Seth. The year is roughly 1600 years after creation. The Bible sets the stage with chilling clarity in Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Noah's world was defined by Hamas, not the modern group, but the Hebrew word for violence and lawlessness. While the rest of the world was righteous only in their own eyes, Noah lived by a different standard. Genesis chapter 6 verse 9 tells us, "Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God." Current rabbinic tradition often debates the phrase "in his generation." Some sages argue Noah was only relatively righteous, like a one-eyed man in the kingdom of the blind. They call him a tzaddik ayim peltz, a righteous man in a fur coat. Think about that. On a cold night, you can keep warm two ways. Wear a thick coat, warming only yourself, or light a fire, warming everyone. Noah, some say, just wore the coat. He stayed sane in a world gone mad, but he didn't influence his neighbors. Then comes the divine assignment. God determines to make an end of all flesh, but establishes a covenant, a legal binding agreement, with Noah. Genesis chapter 6 verse 14 and 17 to 18, "Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and out with pitch. For behold, I will bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, but I will establish my covenant with you." The ark wasn't a boat with a prow. It was a rectangular chest. Its dimensions, 300 cubits, that is roughly 442 feet or 134 meters, by 50 cubits, roughly 73 feet or 22 meters, are nearly identical to the Ararat Anomaly detected by modern satellite imagery at 15,300 feet, or about 4,663 meters, on Mount Ararat. Noah's obedience was absolute. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 7 notes, "By faith Noah, being warned by God concerning events as yet unseen, in reverent fear constructed an ark for the saving of his household. He spent decades building while being a herald of righteousness to a mocking public." Who was on that boat? 8 people. Noah, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. While the Bible remains silent on the women's names, traditions like the Book of Jubilees and the Dead Sea Scrolls name Noah's wife as Emzara. Each son's wife carried the future of a branch of humanity. Tradition names them Sedekatelabab, wife of Shem; Na'el-Tamauk, wife of Ham; Adatanizes, wife of Japheth. Historic facts reveal that almost every ancient culture has a flood story. In the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh, the hero is Utnapishtim. Unlike Noah, who is saved because of his righteousness and God's grace, Utnapishtim is saved because a god named Ea cheated and tipped him off in a dream to avoid a divine tantrum. When the rain stopped after 40 days and the waters abated after 150, Noah did something crucial. He didn't just step out. He waited for God's command. He sent a raven and then a dove. When the dove returned with an olive leaf, it wasn't just a sign of dry land. It was a sign of reconciliation. His first act? Worship. Genesis chapter 8 verses 20 to 21 reads, "Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took some of every clean animal and some of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man. Noah's story doesn't end with a rainbow, it ends with a vineyard. This man of God becomes a man of the soil. Genesis chapter 9 verses 20 to 22 reads, Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. When he drank some of its wine, he became drunk and lay uncovered inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his 2 brothers outside. This is the fall of Noah. Just as Adam's fall involved fruit and resulted in nakedness and shame, Noah's fall follows the same pattern. What happened in that tent? The literary focus is on the dishonor shown by Ham. In ancient customs, the nakedness of a father was a matter of extreme social shame. Shem and Japheth showed their character by walking in backward to cover him, refusing to look. The curse. When Noah woke, he learned what his youngest son had done to him. He uttered a curse, but strangely, he didn't curse Ham. He cursed Ham's son, Canaan. This passage has a dark history. Historically, it was used by some to justify the enslavement of people of African descent. However, modern scholarship and African American traditions point out that Noah was inebriated when he spoke. His words may not have been a divine decree, but a flawed human reaction. Furthermore, Canaanites are historically associated with the Levant, not Africa. Why does this character matter to us today? Because Noah is a type of Christ. Typology explained. The ark as salvation. Just as the ark was the only way to survive the physical judgment of the flood, Christ is the only ark to survive the final judgment. The righteous mediator. Noah saved his family through his righteousness. Christ, the truly perfect man, saves his spiritual family, the church, through his righteousness. New creation. Noah was a second Adam, starting the world over. Christ is the last Adam, bringing a new creation that will never fall. Noah found grace, as written in Genesis chapter 6, verse 8, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. He was a man of immense faith, who nevertheless struggled with the same human weaknesses we do. His life teaches us that righteousness sets you apart, but the fur coat isn't enough. We are called to be mediators, to light the fire, and to look toward the one Noah's life prefigured. Jesus Christ, our eternal rest. Matthew chapter 24, verse 37. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. If you found this deep dive fascinating, please like and subscribe.